Hello. If you're doing the weekly advanced revision, what you'll need is the links to the practice videos if you need them, and the links to the actual resources themselves. So you've gone through all of the videos for the advanced spreadsheets ICDL qualification, or you're going through it step by step. So what you can do is you can go through the weekly revision step by step or all in one go. It's entirely up to you. So what you're doing is making sure that even though you've watched the videos, you're actually learning what's going on. You're not just watching them. That's not enough for some people to actually be able to reproduce that task in something else. So you need to practice it. So this will give the opportunity to practice it. If you've paid for this course, you'll be sent these links and able to get in on YouTube. If you're a university staff or student, you'll be able to get on as well. So this is really to back up what you're learning. The other thing is you may not want to do the weekly revision. You might take some of the tasks that you've been looking at with regard to the video-based learning, and you may just go straight ahead and apply them to whatever it is that you need to do. Entirely up to you. They're here to use whichever way you wish, and hopefully they'll be clearing up a few things with regard to the exam if that's what you're going for. Let's get started. Once again, we need our weekly revision work files because these have been set up to work with the paper. And the paper you need, if we remind ourselves, is the Advanced Spreadsheets Weekly Revision. Make sure you're not opening the pre-online revision paper. And this session is looking at questions in week 3, which are 13 to 19. As you can see, if we're going to go along, I'm going to finish up there. Not too many. So starting with question 13, it's asking us to open the revision book and use the home sheet to create an outline and show only the headings and the savings row. So let's go into our revision book. We've got to find the home sheet once we get in there. Remember, it's quite a large one, this. A lot of sheets. There's our home there. So if we select the data, remember on the data tab, that's where you find the outline groups. And if you drop the group down there, you have what they call an auto outline. We select that. That gives us these collapsing and expanding column number indexes. And it wants us to show the headings and the savings only. So if I click on the 1, that's the one that gives you the total, if you like, the overall total. So that would be correct. In the exam, if you did things like this, it wouldn't be the end of the world. As long as you just get to the right answer before you click on that answer button, that's absolutely fine, because you're not a robot. You are going to click around a little bit and find your way. So that's that one answered, nice and easy. Next, we're going to move to the food worksheet. Let's go back and have a look at the question for that. So this is about scenarios. It's using the food worksheet, and we've been asked to create 2 scenarios, and that's the details there in the table, and also a summary report of that. So back to our food sheet. The table says it's based on F5 to H5, so I'm going to highlight those first. I'm still in the data tab from before, and I'm popping into what if analysis and scenario manager is tucked in there. We don't have any scenarios in here. The first one they're asking us to do is called case 1. And it's based on F5 to H5, which is correct. And then if we go OK, we've got our data figures. It's 100. If you tab, it's much easier to pop them in and overwrite the 0. That's OK, we've done that one. And then we've got to add another one called case 2. OK, and this one's 150 tab 250 tab 350. Nice easy data so we can remember. Okay, so we've now got our case 1 and our case 2. If we wanted to edit that, if we wanted to make it a capital T or a lower, it doesn't really matter. It's all the same. Okay, that's the editing way that we can fix things if we're not sure if we've done it correctly. The summary it needs is here. So we click on the summary report. It is based on the G7, which is going to be the total profit. That's the scenario itself. Okay, and there's the scenario report popped in there, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so that's question 14. So back to, let's click on sales total first, and then back to our paper. And moving on to question 15. On the sales total worksheet, enter a 3D function in cell C5 to sum cell C5 on the May, June and July worksheets. Let's do this together, back to our worksheet. So I'm on the sales. I'm just going to click over a bit so we can see the other sheets. There's the May, the June and July. So I'm on the right one, I'm on the front one. I need to be in C5. That's where I'm going to put my 3D sum function. Do you remember the quick way of doing this? Go to the Home tab, click on the Auto Sum, and it pops it in there ready to go. So remember the method. The first one is click on the first sheet. You can see the syntax in the formula bar up there. Click on the Shift, and that represents every sheet in between. There could be 20 here. Then click on the last sheet while you're still holding Shift. Notice they've all grouped together. Let go of the Shift and click on C5 because that's the cell that you're going to add up or accumulate through the sheets. Enter, and then you will have your 3D sum or 3D reference sum. Okay, so that's the weekly revision. I'll just do it one more time. Remember, auto sum. Click on first sheet. Make sure you don't click on the actual sheet you're in. So click on the May sheet. Click on the Shift for any sheet in between. While you're holding it, click on the July. Let go of the Shift and select the cell and enter. And that's that test question done. Let's just move over to the next one, ready, sales. And back to our question sheet, number 16. Oh, we've got something outside of the revision workbook. Okay, so we're going to open up the file called link without updating the links, and we've been asked to break all the links to the external files, save and close. So back to our folder. There's our link workbook. Remember how we break links in the data tab? You can go to the edit links here, or in the file tab, you can see that a document is linked. It didn't come up with asking me to not update, but if it does, I would have done that. So let's go through the edit link way. There's our link, there's our break link, okay, and close. And notice if I go back to the file now, there is no edit link available there because this file isn't linked anymore. Okay, I'm going to close that. I won't save it. You can, but I'll use it to demonstrate at a later date. Right, now question 17. In the revision workbooks, we're back there again. Go to the sales worksheet, link the cell range B4 to E7 as a worksheet object in the Word document company sales, and it says to put it under a particular heading. The second part of it asks us to insert the chart as an embedded chart object into the same Word document under a different heading. So let's go and have a look at this before we do the detail. So we've got the cell range B4 to E7, and it wants this linked. So let's copy it first. Do we need to open up the Word document? It would probably help. So let's go and open up the company sales. place the cursor where it asks us to. The first linked data range, B4 to E7, needs to be placed under the heading Company Sales from May to July, and it wants it as a linked object. So into the paste, drop down to the paste special, click on the Microsoft Excel worksheet object, make sure you click on the paste link, and then OK. Now we can check this is linked. Remember, in the exam, we can right click and double check, and it is linked. It's got it there. Okay, so the second part of the question, let's have a quick look. For question 17 is to insert the chart as an embedded object into the Word document under the heading below the one we've just used. So I've got my cursor ready. Go into my workbook spreadsheet in the sales sheet, copy the chart back to my Word document, and then paste special as before, but this time we don't choose the paste link and we just click on the Microsoft Excel chart object and OK. Hopefully that'll pop in. If you get a flash on your spreadsheet, that's because IT services are blocking mine and because I've got an enable on. So you can reduce the size of the chart, comes in really big and right from a corner, and fix it so it looks more like the chart that you were supposed to bring, and maybe bring it up like that. Okay, and if we right click on that, you can see that that's a worksheet object that's embedded, it's not linked. Okay, so we're now going to move on to the next question. I'm just going to close that, I'm not going to save it. And we're still in the revision workbook, and we're moving on to the accounts sheet. So back to our question 18. In the accounts worksheet, remove a hyperlink in G2 and add a new hyperlink that links to the CIA Large Hotel workbook and the sheet within it, hotel details. So let's do that. So here's our G2 removal. Right click, remove hyperlink, nice and easy. And then question 18 is asking us to do the creating a link to a workbook. So right click, hyperlink. There's the CIA Large Hotel. There's no workbook called Hotel Details. It's a worksheet. To enable us to get to that, let's pull that up. We can go through this little feature here, bookmark, and we can click on that particular hotel sheet. It's going on to A1. OK, OK. And you can see that if you hover on that, that's actually worked. So that's question 18. The final one, 19, let's just go back to our questions. It says import the file called sample text in a tab delimiter format into a new workbook starting at cell A1 of the first worksheet of the new workbook. And then it asks us to go on to name that worksheet people and the workbook as people data. So if we just minimize this, let's get a new workbook at the top here. If you haven't got that on, you can just go File New, you would normally. I'm in A1. I go to my Data tab, and there's my Get External Data from text, because we're bringing in a text file. You would go to the Z drive to find this in the exam, or if you've got your files on the desktop, just like me, if we're practicing. But remember, in the exam, it's going to the Z and saving to the Z. So I'm going to go into my weekly revision files, make sure I've got the right ones. And there's a sample text. And I can only see that because this is on here instead of all files. Double click on there and it opens up a wizard. It's always delimited, so we can always go to the next. You can see that it's already on the correct one, tab delimiter, but it could be on something else. And notice when it is on something else, it doesn't work very well. In other words, the data's not split correctly amongst the cells and into columns. When you're happy, click on Next, then Finish. It is in the correct cell here, existing worksheet. OK, there's your data,
and then you would go on to save your spreadsheet as people and save your workbook as people data. So that's the end of the week 3 weekly revision exercises, questions 13 to 19. The next series of videos for the lecture demonstrations will be for week 4, and you can pick up those if you wish. Okay, thank you for your time. Bye-bye.